My name is Sharell, and I am the founder of Clean Relations. And at my agency, we educate artists on maximizing digital growth using their data and analytics. All right, so by a show of hands, how many rappers do we have in the audience? Okay, I see a few. Singers? Producers? Okay, managers? Artists? I guess admin? Anybody else?
I do everything.
All right, what's your name then, since you do everything?
Brandon.
Brandon. Well, give it up for Brandon, y'all, because I'm about to take him on as a client. But we're just using this as an example now, so just chill. Before you get too excited, we gotta go through a couple of things, Brandon. We gotta go through a couple of things. So the first thing is we're gonna do a consultation where I just ask Brandon a couple of questions. You know, what's your vision? Are you trying to be signed? Are you trying to be a major label artist? Are you trying to be independent? You know, what's the deal with you?
I would prefer to be successfully independent, but if a label really cared and was gonna put the money in.
Reasonable. I'm right there with you, man. Right? Ain't that a smart answer? Smart right there. How long have you been doing this?
10 years.
Nice. So after the consultation, I'll do a deep dive into your socials just to figure out exactly if there's an audience there, what can we work with already, and then I'll dive into the content to figure out exactly, okay, this is what type of content is going, this type of content is what the audience is engaging with the most. So after all of that, that's when I can determine if I'm ready to take you on as a client. So let's just say Brandon meets all of the criteria and he's ready to go. Now, what's the next thing that we're gonna do? We're gonna look outward. So we've done all that internal work, looked inside the socials, figured out his vision, figured out the content. Now we're trying to figure out what the fans are looking for. And the fans are looking for 3 simple things: a consistent sound, engagement, and content. So in one word, describe your sound, Brandon.
I would say it's like kind of an alt pop.
So if one of Brandon's songs were to come on right now, a fan of Brandon's would know that song within the first 5 to 15 seconds. Like, all right, that's it. Now, as far as a consistent engagement, can I get a show of hands of how many people regularly engage with their commenters and fans? Like, are you guys responding back? Are you talking back to your fans, or are you just leaving them on read? Okay. That's good. I like to see that. I thought I was gonna be disappointed, but that's good to see. And last thing is content. So like I said before with the case study and the deep dive, we wanna make sure, okay, what type of content is the audience gravitating to the most, and what type of content can we create social campaigns from so that your audience is continuously coming back to your profile and your account and just building that growth off of that. Now, on to the partners. A loyal audience, you know, when it comes to buying into an artist and becoming a consumer, you want to have consistent sales in merch, consistent sales in shows, and just music in general. Now, when it comes to the social following and the engagement, you want to make sure that that balances out. So how many followers do you have right now, Brandon?
We have like 11.4 thousand.
So I'll say 11,000 followers. And with those 11,000 followers, how many comments are you regularly getting, shares all across the board?
Probably on Instagram, let's say if I made a post, I get probably 400 or 500 likes and like...
That's actually pretty good.
20 to 50 comments, depending on the interactive nature of the, you know, what you're saying.
You want to make sure that your interactions are reflecting at least 10 to 15% of your following. So Brandon here has 11,000 followers. You know, the fact that he's racking up 500 comments already, like that's exceeding the minimum. That's exceeding the 10 to 15%. So engagement is just as important as the follower count, guys. You got to make sure that has a nice balance. Now, targeting your audience. I actually use 3 different ways to target audience, and one of the best tools that I use is through Facebook ads or a business manager. And how many of you guys know Facebook ads and business manager? Do you guys use ads regularly? That's good, nice. So the first method is finding your audience through demographics. And that's just basically already tapping into your audience and your analytics that you have with those tools that I just mentioned to see exactly, okay, like what locations are my fans listening to my music? Maybe I need to experiment and reach to international countries and target my music to those areas. How old are these people that are listening to your music? Do you appeal to a more older audience, or maybe you're more hooked on with the kids? But this is something very easy that you can customize and create, and it'll look something like this. And back to the second method is the lookalike audience, which is, you know, similar to like whatever artist that you have a related sound to or related fans to, that's somebody that you know, want to emulate. So Brandon, you said you have like a pop sound. What artist do you feel like you would sound like to create a lookalike brand audience?
I would say probably like
Give me like a mainstream name.
like Imagine Dragons, Alt J.
Nice.
But then also with like more hip hop influence as far as the beats go as well.
So could I like put like Run the Jewels in there?
You could, yeah.
All right, nice. Run the Jewels. So basically, we'll put Run the Jewels audience up against Brandon's audience, and Facebook ads will do its little thing that they do, which is you don't really have to do all the work, and they'll literally bring the Run the Jewels audience over to Brandon's content and vice versa, and just kind of build off of that. Honestly, you really don't need to have a big ad budget. Most of the ad budgets that I use with my clients range from $80 to $100 a month. So we're literally like sponsoring ads for $40 for 4 days. And within those 4 days, we're targeting specific countries, specific age groups, and specific reach. Now, what does it all look like? After sitting down with Brandon and talking about his sound and figuring out what audience we need to target and getting all the analytical data together and collected, I'm going to be tracking his growth from week to week. And if he doesn't use all of these social platforms, we'll condense it. But I'll be tracking your follower count, I'll be tracking your reach and impressions, and then I'll also be tracking significant shares from notable accounts. All right, now what can I do with all of this stuff? I don't recommend you just gathering all of your data and spreadsheets and just throwing them on the table and being like, here, partner with me. Here's a deal, let's do it. Like, no, that's not that's not gonna work, guys. So the first thing that I usually do with my clients is I create simple social campaigns. What are we gonna do to get people to come back to the content? What are we gonna do to gravitate and get people's attention? At the end of the day, you wanna make sure that you're attacking the growth while also tracking the growth and then leveraging yourself so that you can get these deals. Now, the second thing, this is how the social calendar and the social goals and me just mapping out the social campaign all together is going to look like. So, you know, maybe Brandon doesn't, are you familiar with like TikTok and Triller? Are you on there regularly? Well, I mean, I'm realizing that it's a it's a very popular new social platform to get your music out. So maybe he needs to play around with that. So we can put that on the list as a goal for him, just to play around. And I won't even track the analytics. But I just want to spread out all the goals in front of your face so that you know exactly what needs to be obtained by the end of certain months. And then within that month, I'm going to be tracking which content is performing the best, what top locations that this content is gravitating to the most. And then I'm also going to create a social calendar where we'll be able to optimize specific times. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure like when you post a photo and you don't get as many likes on one day versus another day, that's something to notice. That's something to really like pique your interest and be like, hey, maybe I should start posting on Saturdays if most of my audience is on Instagram on Saturday, you know? And this is what this social calendar / campaign, just a bunch of everything is going to help. The second thing is actually reaching out to the partners. Now you can do, you know, a simple cold, solid professional email. You can slide into the DMs, or, you know, I can be that liaison that is coming to the partner, sending that solid email and being like, hey, you know, this is what we have under our belt. These are the strengths we have, and this is what the actual social spreadsheet should look like when you're actually presenting to the partners. You want to make sure that you play off the strengths. And you just want to make sure that when you're coming to these partners, that you're using your best social analytical data. You're not just giving them a whole bunch of numbers. You're like, okay, here's an audience that you haven't tapped into that I think I can be that person to help you tap into. This is what, when you're researching the partners, you need to figure out what it is that they're lacking and where you can come in and fill in the gap. Whether it be your sound, whether it be your data and analytics, or whether it just be you in general as a person, you know? They can just love you. They don't have to even really like look at the analytics and be like, oh, okay, these are great, let's do a deal. It's like, it's a whole full package. It's a full package, y'all. So, we went through everything, Brandon. Like, how you feeling about it? How you feeling? Hey man, it's on you too. I ain't gonna do all the work. I'm not gonna do all the work for you. Like, this is give and take. It's a collaborative effort. I need to see. What's your question?
Our situation is that our plays per day outweigh our followers by a lot. Like, we're getting 40 to 60,000 plays a day.
Okay.
We only have like 11,000 followers. So how do you translate those plays on Spotify into followers on your social
That's a
media?
good question. Well, one thing that I use is once you're locked into your Spotify for Artist Analytics, and you can actually see specific regions of listeners, how many monthly listeners you're getting, daily listeners you're getting. So if you can see that, like, okay, I'm getting a lot of listeners from New Zealand, maybe I can translate those listeners to my Instagram account and sponsor an ad where I target specific Australian countries. So like maybe or Australian cities. So like maybe I need to do Sydney, New Zealand, what's the other one? Auckland.
Thank you for being here and giving us all this information because it's really vital and important. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the second thing is, can you talk a little bit about what's the right amount of money you should put into advertisement so you can get a reduced price in the call to action? Because it's tricky, you know. Sometimes you put a smaller budget and Facebook charges you very low.
No, I get
then
it.
you bet more money and it's like the call to action, it's like 10 cents more or 15 cents more. It makes a huge amount of difference on the outcome and the conversion that you get. So how do you play around with that?
You just start off small, bro. Like I said before, I don't spend any more than $80 to $100 a month. So that means like we're literally sponsoring ads like $40 a week, $40 every other week, break it down. And we're just literally experimenting to the point where we're getting 0.01 clicks per cent. And yeah, like you said, you want to at least basically get the lowest amount of, you want to spend the lowest amount of money and get the most reach out of that. But you got to also like experiment, and it's like give and take. It's risk and reward as an independent artist or as somebody that's putting up your own money and fronting up your own money to sponsor these ads. Yeah, give yourselves a hand, guys. Thank you so much.